NEC Section 352.47 addresses expansion fittings. Expansion fittings shall be installed on raceways crossing building expansion joints. This requirement applies to rigid non-metallic conduit, or PVC, when crossing expansion joints between buildings, especially in a suspended slab. The purpose of expansion fittings is to accommodate movement caused by thermal expansion and contraction, as well as building settlement or seismic activity. Without these fittings, the conduit could be subjected to stress, leading to damage, breakage, or even electrical hazards. When installing PVC conduit across an expansion joint, several factors need to be considered. Firstly, the expansion coefficient of the conduit material. PVC expands and contracts with temperature changes, and this movement must be accommodated. The expansion fittings should be sized appropriately based on the expected temperature range and the length of the conduit run. Secondly, the width of the expansion joint. The expansion fitting must be capable of accommodating the maximum anticipated movement of the joint. In this case, the expansion joint is specified as 2 inches, which means the fitting must allow for at least that much movement. Thirdly, the installation requirements. The expansion fitting should be installed according to the manufacturer's instructions and in compliance with all applicable codes and standards. This may include providing adequate support for the conduit on either side of the fitting and ensuring that the fitting is properly sealed to prevent moisture from entering the raceway. The NEC provides specific guidelines for the selection and installation of expansion fittings. These guidelines are intended to ensure that the electrical system remains safe and reliable, even under adverse conditions. When selecting an expansion fitting, consider the following factors. 1. The conduit size. The fitting must be compatible with the size of the PVC conduit being used. 2. The expansion range. The fitting must be capable of accommodating the anticipated movement of the expansion joint. 3. The environmental conditions. The fitting must be suitable for the environment in which it will be installed, such as wet or corrosive locations. 4. The listing and labeling. The fitting must be listed and labeled by a recognized testing laboratory, such as Underwriters Laboratories, all to ensure that it meets applicable safety standards. When installing an expansion fitting, follow these steps. 1. Cut the conduit to the appropriate length. Measure the distance between the 2 sides of the expansion joint and subtract the amount of expansion that the fitting is designed to accommodate. 2. Install the fitting. Slide the conduit into the fitting and tighten the screws or clamps to secure it in place. 3. Support the conduit. Provide adequate support for the conduit on either side of the fitting to prevent it from sagging or bending. 4. Seal the fitting. Seal the fitting with a suitable sealant to prevent moisture from entering the raceway. It is also crucial to inspect expansion fittings regularly to ensure that they are functioning properly. Look for signs of damage, such as cracks or leaks, and replace the fitting if necessary. Also, check the tightness of the screws or clamps and tighten them if needed. Failure to properly install and maintain expansion fittings can have serious consequences. The conduit could be damaged, leading to electrical hazards such as short circuits or ground faults. In addition, the building structure could be damaged if the conduit exerts excessive force on the expansion joint. Therefore, it is essential to follow all applicable codes and standards when installing and maintaining expansion fittings. In addition to NEC Section 352.47a, other sections of the NEC may also be relevant to the installation of expansion fittings. For example, NEC Section 300.4f addresses the protection of conductors from physical damage, and NEC Section 300.7b addresses the expansion and contraction of raceways. These sections provide additional guidance on how to install and maintain electrical systems in a safe and reliable manner. When working with electrical systems, it is always important to consult with a qualified electrician or electrical engineer. These professionals have the knowledge and experience to ensure that the electrical system is installed and maintained in accordance with all applicable codes and standards. They can also help to identify and address any potential hazards before they cause problems. Furthermore, understanding the specific requirements for different types of conduit is essential. While Section 352.47a explicitly calls for expansion fittings for raceways, which includes PVC conduit, the application can vary depending on the specific installation and the anticipated movement at the expansion joint. The NEC defines a raceway as an enclosed channel designed expressly for holding wires, cables, or busbars, with additional functions as permitted in the NEC. Raceways can be made of metal or insulating material. Rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, electrical metallic tubing, flexible metal conduit, liquid-type flexible metal conduit, rigid nonmetallic conduit, liquid-type flexible nonmetallic conduit, and cable trays are examples of raceways. Considering the location, Florida, thermal expansion due to temperature variations is a significant factor. PVC conduit expands more than metal conduit for the same temperature change. Therefore, expansion fittings are even more critical in Florida installations to accommodate this increased expansion and contraction. The NEC doesn't specify the exact distance at which expansion fittings are required for PVC conduit runs in general, but it does mandate them at expansion joints. For long straight runs of PVC conduit outside of expansion joints, expansion coupling should be installed per the manufacturer's recommendations to accommodate thermal expansion and contraction. The frequency of these couplings depends on the temperature range, the conduit size, and the manufacturer's specifications. For instance, a typical recommendation might be to install an expansion coupling every 20 to 30 feet for a 1-inch PVC conduit in an area with a significant temperature variation. Always refer to the manufacturer's data for specific guidelines. In summary, NEC Section 352.47 unequivocally requires expansion fittings when crossing building expansion joints with raceways, including PVC conduit. This is particularly important in locations like Florida where temperature variations are significant. The selection and installation of these fittings must be done carefully, considering the expansion coefficient of the conduit, the width of the expansion joint, and the manufacturer's instructions. Regular inspection and maintenance are also crucial to ensure the continued safety and reliability of the electrical system. Always consult with qualified professionals and adhere to all applicable codes and standards when working with electrical systems. Therefore, by following these guidelines, you can ensure that your electrical system is safe, reliable, and compliant with the NEC. Remember to always prioritize safety when working with electricity and to consult with qualified professionals when needed. The importance of proper installation and maintenance of electrical systems cannot be overstated. Electrical systems are essential to our modern lives, providing power for our homes, businesses, and industries. However, they can also be dangerous if not installed and maintained properly. That is why it is so important to follow all applicable codes and standards and to consult with qualified professionals when working with electrical systems. By doing so, you can help to ensure the safety and reliability of your electrical system and protect yourself and others from electrical hazards. Furthermore, it is important to stay up to date on the latest changes to the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. These codes and standards are constantly evolving to reflect new technologies and best practices. By staying informed, you can ensure that your electrical system is always in compliance with the latest requirements. There are many resources available to help you stay up to date on the NEC and other applicable codes and standards. These resources include online training courses, seminars, and publications. You can also consult with qualified professionals who can provide you with the latest information and guidance. In addition to following the NEC and other applicable codes and standards, it is also important to implement a comprehensive safety program. A safety program should include regular inspections, maintenance, and training. It should also address potential hazards and provide procedures for preventing accidents. By implementing a comprehensive safety program, you can create a safe and healthy work environment for yourself and others. Finally, remember that safety is everyone's responsibility. Everyone who works with electrical systems should be trained on the proper safety procedures and should be aware of the potential hazards. By working together, we can create a safe and healthy work environment for all. In conclusion, NEC Section 352.47 mandates the use of expansion fittings when crossing building expansion joints with PVC conduit. This requirement is essential for ensuring the safety and reliability of electrical systems, particularly in areas with significant temperature variations. Proper selection, installation, and maintenance of expansion fittings are crucial for preventing damage to the conduit and the building structure, as well as for protecting against electrical hazards. Always consult with qualified professionals and adhere to all applicable codes and standards when working with electrical systems. By following these guidelines, you can ensure that your electrical system is safe, reliable, and compliant with the NEC.